Hello, hello. Sir David the Bard. Boy, I'm in a good mood today. Let me land in my favorite spot. Sir David the Bard coming to you from Kangaroo City down in Australia here. Haven't been on for a few days. A couple of things have happened. One is Mercy, my wife, is in Europe. She's in France, London, and they're going down on Monaco. She has a sister who has a husband who has a condo. It's empty in Monaco. So they're going to stay down there and have a good time. She just flew over to Belgium and got my confirmation. She sent a picture from the Philippines showing that, from Belgium, that she got there. It's Monson. Every time it's Monson. He wants me to come back. Hello. Hi, Mary. Hold on just a second, please. Grandma Mary's on the phone. Grandma Mary's on the phone. Anyway. You know, I'm almost 70. And, the Mormons think that every time I get something that an old person gets, I'm having the buffetings of Satan. Buffeting. Anyway, the Mormons can't stand it that I'm happy, that I'm alive, that I'm well. I feel good most of the time. I feel good most of the time. And I saw a Mormon thing this morning, which I couldn't believe. I couldn't believe. You know, there's 4 official accounts of Joseph Smith's first supposed revelation. I don't remember all the details. In one revelation, there was only one person he talked to. Another one, there were 2 people he talked to. And another one, who knows how many stories. Now, I'm not an expert on lying. I'm really not. I usually believe whatever a person says. I'm just very naive. I've watched a lot of these shows on TV about people lying on the detective shows. One of the sure ways of knowing that people are lying is they don't tell the same story. Every time they tell the story, it's different. Well, here it is. A cult is a cult. The general authority that spoke on this, I've got a link, I'll try to put it on here. He said that proves that Joseph Smith was a true prophet, and that the events are different because he remembers them different, and it proves that they're true. God dang. If there's anything that a cult does, it's always the opposite. If you say this is good, the cult will say no, this is bad. Good, bad. The cult always is in reverse of truth. When a man can't tell a story, if you see God, now I don't know how many of you have seen God, you know if it was one God or 2 gods. You don't forget that kind of a detail. What kind of clothes he was wearing, well, maybe you would forget if he had shoes on or socks. I don't know. But when you say that there's one person, when you say there's 2 people, and then they do speak to you, they don't speak to you, all of these events are life-changing. I remember life-changing events, and if you ask me something, and you do too, you remember the details and the event. Well, anyway, he made an excuse for Joseph Smith making up 3 or 4 different stories about angels that appeared to him, and fancy this, and gold plates, and all the shenanigans that Joseph was involved in. So anyway, if you're in a cult, those things make sense to you. You don't want them to be the same. And the gospel's the same. The gospel never changes. But Joseph Smith can change. God, what a pile of crap. Anyway, if you're there and you're happy, go for it. If you think a man that sees God doesn't remember if there was one God or 2 gods, good for you. You're probably a person that doesn't wear underwear. It's just, it's insanity. It's totally insanity. Oh, now I have to tell you this, because, you know, I want to be honest all the time. I'm on here, I think some of the reasons that people hit my program is that I don't pull too many punches. In other words, I've been coming shortness of breath. I've noticed as I'm coming up the kangaroo staircase, the kangaroos, they jump up and I'm just kind of struggling. And when I get up here, I put the old oxygen mask on. And I'm saying to myself, I think something's going on. So anyway, I'm going to the hot heart doctor. You know, I had a quad bypass and 5 stents. More buffetings of Satan. I'm the only one that has stents. I'm the only one that has bypass. It must be Satan. Mormons. Oh, they wish such ill. Can you think of what people are like that receive joy in the potential or possibility of another human being in agony and pain, suffering with a gnashing of teeth and pain everywhere? What kind of a person would have a high, a feeling of validation, if you will, that I'm going to have the buffetings of Satan, and they're going to sit back and enjoy and watch it? I don't like to see anybody suffer, even Mormons. I don't want to see Mormons suffer, but they want to see me suffer. Anyway, I've got this shortness of breath. I've been to the doctor. He's referred me over to the heart guy. Now, I decided to go on the computer, which I should have never done. I should have never gone on the computer and look up shortness of breath. What are the symptoms and the causes and the cures? Well, there's no cures. There's no cures. If I needed another couple of stents, they'll put them in, and I'll be good for, who knows, another 5 or 10 years. But here's what just set me down. I go into Google and I put shortness of breath, and I'm reading these medical articles on, you know, on the many things it can cause, and suddenly pops up all of these commercials on a living will. A living will. Now, wait a minute. That's a little premature, is it? I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm close to death and I need a living will. Well, I'm going to make a dead will. A dead will is I'm not giving anything to the Mormon Church ever. They've taken so much money from me and my families. They've ruined my families and my life. Anyway, it's not comforting when you look up your disease in the computer and right beside it are constant advertisements for a living will. Well, I'm still living. I'm still enjoying myself. Mercy's in Europe. I'm getting older. I'm going to obviously have teeth, eye, ears, hair. Well, I've had hair problems since I was 25. But anyway, if the Mormons want to think that old age and the infirmities of old age are the buffetings of Satan, let them. Let them. I have a beautiful home. I have 3 new cars now. Good Lord. 3. That's more people than have licenses in my family. Anyway, I have a good life. I have a very good life, and I have access to such medical technology. It's unbelievable. So, those of you that hope that I'm dead, I'm not yet. Those of you that hope that I do die, that's going to happen. That's going to happen, and when I die, the Mormons will say, see, Jesus wanted him on the other side. He's in a happier place. What crap. What crap. Anyway, if you look your name up in the dictionary and it has a mortuary company right beside it, that's not very comforting. So, I want you to remember the Pele Ale, oh God, hear the words of my mouth 3 times. That's called the true order of prayer. And I want you to remember to have health in the navel, marrow in the bones, strength in the loins and in the sinews, power in the priesthood be upon me and upon my posterity through all generations of time and throughout all eternity. That is the name of the second token of the Melchizedek priesthood, the patriarchal grip or sure sign of the nail. And if you don't think that's a bunch of mumbo-jumbo crapo, join the Mormon Church, go to their temple. You'll learn to bow your head and say yes. Bow your head and say yes. And one of the things I have vowed the rest of my life, I will never, ever bow my head and say yes to anybody or anything. God, Jesus, I don't give a shit who it is. The Mormon Church has taught me I will not bow my head and say yes. I will investigate every nook and cranny of new ideas, and if I see shit, I'm going to say that shit. I'm not interested. I don't want to have health in the navel, marrow in the bones. That's baloney baloney. So anyway, if you want to be a member of the Mormon Church, learn your baloney. Moroni baloney, I don't know. Moroni, Mickey Moroni, I don't know, you know. And there's one guy that keeps writing in. I don't look at my my messages much anymore. I've got like 30,000 of them, and I just don't have time. I don't have, and sometimes I don't have interest. But those of you that write and ask special things, if I could, I would, for everybody. There's one guy that keeps writing, he hopes that I die. He'll probably die on the keyboard. I don't know. Life is a crapshoot. Life is throwing dice, turning cards over. Sometimes you'll have a good life, sometimes you'll have hurdles. Most of us have hurdles. And here at 70, I'm starting to have some physical frailties. Infirmities. Dementia, see? They both sound the same to me. So anyway, try to stay healthy, live a good life. I said this the other day and somebody jumped on it. Don't have skeletons. Living with skeletons makes you skinny, but skeletons are not good people to live with. They lie, they cheat, they steal, they break all the reasonable commandments of all religions. And if you have skeletons, you're always looking over your shoulder. If you think I have skeletons, how could I have been on for 5 years with almost 2 million hits? Somebody would come up and say, here's the love baby of the bard, or here is you know, the 9 wives that he lived with that he never married. God dang, I married all 6 of them. What a fool. I should have had that skeleton. Anyway, Anna, you mentioned, I did see a comment from you that you wanted to be my caretaker. Now, there's a couple of rules for anyone that applies for being my caretaker. Number 1 is that you must be nude, totally nude all the time. And as you're, you know, giving me medication and as you're massaging my legs, you got to be nude. Now, that eliminates a lot of girls. Anna, I don't know. You'll have to let me know. You'll have to let me know, because if you say yes, you're my caretaker. Anyway, live a good life. Don't have skeletons. Be forthcoming. We generally make mistakes. Some make more than others. And we need to acknowledge those mistakes so somebody doesn't come up 2 years later and we're doing something important and we're Pee Wee Herman's masturbating partner. Don't get into that crap. Be careful, be wise, and be good. Be good. Marry the people you want and have sex with people that you're married to. If you're single, take responsibility and don't have children out of wedlock unless you intend to truly raise them and take care of them. So Allison is doing good. She's in 7th grade and is boys and giggling and the typical thing. Abigail got her car taken away from her. She didn't want to make car payments and she didn't want to pay insurance, so I took the car back. So I became the repo man. Anyway, she's doing okay. And oh, I got to tell you, Mercy's parents, Tatai, the father, my grandfather guy, he is one of the funniest dudes. He was working with me yesterday, or Friday, and we're driving along, going from place to place to pick up specimens. And he turns to me and he said, "We have a problem." I thought, oh God, is he going to say Houston? He didn't. He says, "David, we have a problem." I went, okay, what is it? He says, "I'm hungry." He said, "You're hungry?" He said, "Yes, I'm hungry." He said, "All the time you've ridden with me for a year, you say you're never hungry." He said, "I lied." I said, "You bastard. Where do you want to go?" He said, "McDonald's." Now, I pass a lot of stores, restaurants, and I said, is it only McDonald's you'll go to? Yes, only McDonald's. I said, okay. So we drove for a while, and we finally came to a McDonald's, and I have bought him food for a year on my credit cards. I wasn't hungry for once. I said, there it is, go get it. So he goes in, and he comes out with a little bag with a hamburger in it and a drink. And he sits down and he says, that is the first time I have gone into a McDonald's and bought my own food with my credit card. I said, well, you're not a virgin anymore. He's laughing, I'm laughing, and he looks at me and he said, where are my fries? I go, Ty, ordering a combo is not a difficult thing. When you use the word combo, it's short for combination. You get your drink and your fries and your food all in one. He says, well, I didn't know that. I said, then you got ripped. And he said, I did. It was $1.57, and I didn't get any fries. That's his favorite thing, or McDonald's French fries. So anyway, he's had his first McDonald's adventure. I told you the other day we were using some mastic, or some Velcro, and he looked at it and it was like in amazement. He says, that is magic tape. I said, well, you could call it that. It's Velcro. It comes apart. You can put it back together. Amazing. We have nothing in the Philippines like this. Well, whatever. But anyway, he's doing good. He's still drawing pictures. He's hooked into the senior center here in town, and people want him to always be drawing, sketching, and charcoal pictures of themselves. And the senior center gives them food, all this extra food that the supermarkets don't use. He and Grandma come home with big bags of food that help feed our family. They're really, making a contribution to the family. So anyway, he continues to be amazed at things he sees, and things that he never thought existed exist. So anyway, health in the navel, marrow in the bones. This Bard is still healthy and now gone.